Voyager, and last I left off, I got the secondary hull on, and the only parts I lack to put on are the deflector dish that goes on the bottom and the front, and the little shuttle. And speaking of shuttle, I went ahead and you get a shuttle bay, but the shuttle's just a little too big, I think, for it, and I think you might accidentally get it shoved in there and have to try to fish it out. So I just went ahead and put the garage door in. I think it looks nicer that way. And the shuttle, I will paint it, and it'll be loose, and you can put it wherever you want. It's just be easier that way. But other than that, we are good to go on Voyager. Now, I'm at the boring stage here. Basically been sanding the tips of the nacelles and then the pylons here. And I'll try to show you right through here. You can see started with a little bit of tulip, trying to get that filled in, and the other side, I don't know if you can see it, a little gap right there. Just got to fill that in. That's the only thing bad with movable parts, is they like to, sometimes flex. So tulip will work. I really don't want to use putty, just because it's may crack over time, repeated moving it and everything. But other than that, we are good to go. Got the back on, and I'm just down to I got to fill in a few little places here and there. The saucer here, there's not really a gap, just a little bit. Just needs a little bit of bead of tulip right there, just to make it seamless, and we're good to go. What I need to do now is, after I get satisfied with all the sanding, I need to mask off the clear parts here, and then I need to paint the whole thing black, because I need to make sure that I got all the light leaks anywhere. And that's also why I don't like to make a Christmas tree out of a starship, because you got a bunch of light leaks, that'll burn through the hole, and you got to spend all your time. And if you look, especially the drilled out holes, if you can see where every time you pass it, you can see the different lights, where it looks like the some lights are on, some lights are off. It just, to me, it looks a little more, just depends on how you walk past it, it just looks a little more realistic than having a complete lit up Christmas tree. But anyway, other than that, we are good to go. So I'm down to the a little bit of the boring stage, just doing some seam work, some I will have to do some masking, and then I'm going to paint it all black, so then we can paint. Hopefully we can start painting in about a week, but I need to get the basic boring stuff out of the way. So that's where I am on Voyager. The Devilette, last I left off on that, I don't know if you can actually see the tires here, but started weathering the tires, and I'm basically got one initial layer on, and I'm going to go in and a little bit of dry brushing, kind of blend in the pigments, and put a little bit of a fixer on there, just to not make it too dirty, but keep it like it's been rolling along in the dirt. But most of everything is painted. If you can see the fire extinguishers and a few other things that I painted, the motors and the springs. Started putting on the sponsor decals. So and I and it's going to be random. I just printed out a sticker sheet of sponsor decals, and I'm just going to go random through here and just fill it up. Not really in no particular order, and no particular sponsor. So anyway, there's that on both sides. Just basically going to try to mirror everything. I need to get the decals on, because I need to get them on, sealed, and finish the weathering on the bottom, so everything looks natural and look good. The Devilette, the decal, started going with the green. Now, if you ever, I got most of it cut out. I want to leave the green in here, because if you ever worked with white decal paper, it has a tendency to shrink when you get it wet and get it off the paper. So the more decal you have, the easier it is, because I did manage to get the Devilette on. So what I want to do now is, once this really dries today, I'm going to get the other one on. I want to go in and mix some paint and mix some red and pink flames, and just go in and touch up where the dark green is and just fill it in that way. Other than that, I think it turned out pretty darn slick. And then of course I'll add some other Devilette decals on there as well, the heart and a few others. But I need to get the decals on because I need the get them sealed so I can get the dirt shoved up this way too, you know, and weathered. I want it worn, but I don't want it like, you know, too worn. That's my game plan on that. Excuse me. But after the Devilette, we are going to do another project, personal project. And a lot of people have been asking me, when am I going to build another airplane? And finally I broke down and decided. We're going to build a mini art trifugal. And I said if I ever bought this, there's one thing I wanted to do to it, and that's I wanted to motorize it. I wanted that to spin, not real fast, just a nice good steady spin, just to simulate that it's moving. And I got a motor to my motor at the hobby store. I'm going to go pick that up, and it'll be a couple weeks before we start this, because I got to figure out how to spin it and to fit the front part on as well. But anyway, we'll work on that, and we'll see how that goes as we all look forward to building the trifugal. And yes, Bill, it will have a pilot. So that's what I got going on today. We're going to start the trifugal after the Devilette. Devilette getting its decals, getting more weathering, getting its sponsors, and of course Voyager is getting its seams took care of. So that's what I got going on today. So stay tuned for the next exciting episode.